Hello and thanks for joining. My name is Jeff Fawcett, Customer Support Manager at FreeWave Technologies. Today we're going to talk about the WavePro WP201 wireless access point and how to get that unboxed and ready for configuration. This is the unit fully assembled. It's an indoor-outdoor ruggedized wireless access point. The enclosure is IP67 rated. It includes two radios, a 2.4 gigahertz radio and a 5.8 gigahertz radio. Those can be in operation concurrently. So a common use case would be to attach one WavePro to your local area network, and then using the 5 gigahertz, you can mesh multiple WavePros together and then use the 2.4 gigahertz network on each one to allow Wi-Fi client access. So inside the packaging are two smaller boxes. The first one is the unit box. We're going to open that up. It has the quick start guide, which you can find an updated version of on our website at freewave.com under the support section. And then this is the unit. And going through the components on the unit, on this end are 3 of the 6 antenna ports, as well as 2 weatherproofed RJ45 Ethernet connections. On this side is the label, which has the serial number, model number, and your MAC addresses, which you may need later. On this end, we have the other 3 antenna ports. And on this end, we have a venting plug, which is not to be removed by the user. There's nothing accessible behind it. It's only part of the IP67 rating of the enclosure. And your LEDs, which show power, LAN activity, and wireless activity. So the other box is the accessories box. In that are the antennas over here, your mounting hardware here. This is your AC power adapter, and this is your PoE injector. Now you can use your own PoE equipment as long as it's 802.3AT compatible. On this side are your band clamps for pole mounting, your mounting bracket, and then underneath the mounting bracket are your grounding wires, and then underneath that cardboard is the pole mounting bracket. Okay, next we're going to install the antennas. Now if you look at the unit, along the edge here, each antenna port is labeled for either 5 gigahertz or 2.4 gigahertz. They're staggered, so there's 5, 2.4, 5, 2.4, 5, 2.4. And so to install the antenna, all you have to do is remove the protective cap. Now we encourage you to keep these caps on hand for future use and make sure any antenna ports that aren't being used are covered with the cap to maintain the weatherproof properties. The antennas are also labeled on the end of the antenna here, so you just need to match up the proper frequency antenna to the proper port, and then you simply thread that on there. Securely finger tighten it, do not use any tools, and that's how you install one antenna. Now you're going to go around the rest of the unit to install the other 5 antennas. So you'll be providing the Cat5 Ethernet cables for the unit. One thing we need to point out is that for the connections into the WavePro, you need to use cables that do not have any kind of strain relief or rubber boot on them. So this is an example of just a plain cable with no strain relief. And the reason for that is to allow the weatherproof grommet assembly to go back on the cable, is to maintain the IP67 properties of the unit. The other thing we'd recommend is the opening in the unit that these RJ45s plug into is very small, and it's very difficult to remove a cable once it's installed. So for a temporary connection, we recommend you remove the tab on the RJ45 connector to make it easier to remove. In your permanent install, of course, you want to go ahead and leave that tab in place. So next we're going to power on the WavePro unit. Now again, the unit is powered via Power over Ethernet, PoE, 802.3AT. And so of the 2 Ethernet ports, LAN port 1 is also labeled PoE input. And so the first thing we're going to have to do is connect an Ethernet cable to this port. The other port, by the way, can be used to provide power to a PoE device that's 802.3AF compliant. An example of that would be the WavePro WP201 IP camera. So first thing we're going to do is remove the cap from the LAN 1 port. Then we're going to thread our Ethernet cable through the cap. And remember, as we said before, any cable attaching to the WavePro needs to not have a strain relief or rubber boot of any kind. So we're going to go ahead, remove the weatherproof grommet from the assembly, attach the Ethernet cable, and then when reinstalling the weatherproof grommet, the two pieces have a split that allows them to open up. And the quick start guide has a good drawing on it that will guide you through the orientation of these two pieces. So first I'm going to put the rubber boot back on. Okay, we're going to slide that assembly into the opening in the unit, then slide the cap over and tighten it up. And then the other end of this Ethernet cable is going to go to the AP bridge port on the PoE injector. And then last but not least, we just need to take our AC adapter and apply it to the PoE injector, and now you'll see that you have a green light on both the PoE injector and on the WavePro unit. Now remember that on a permanent install, you're also going to take one of the ground wires from the accessory box and attach it to the screw on the outside of the PoE injector, and then attach that to an earth or safety ground. So when you first power up the unit, you will only see the red power LED. If you had a network connection through the other end of the PoE injector, you would also see a light on LAN 1. And by the time you see the 2.4 and 5 gigahertz LEDs lit up, that means the unit is fully booted and ready for configuration. Mounting the WavePro is very straightforward. You're always going to use this mounting bracket. It's attached here with the 4 mounting screws here. Always remember to put the ground screw in its location underneath the bracket first. And notice that the mounting ears are available on the outside edges of the unit in this orientation. If you were going to mount it to the wall, you could use the bracket to line up your drill holes, drill those holes, and then you're going to insert these wall anchors into those holes, and then simply mount the unit onto the wall anchors, put the bolts on, tighten it up, and you're done. If you're going to pole mount the bracket, you have a separate pole mounting piece that goes either that orientation or horizontal orientation, whichever you prefer. Screw that down, and then the band clamps route underneath the bracket and then around the post to secure it to the pole. To configure the unit, you're going to need a network connection to a laptop or computer. The way to do that is to take a second Cat5 cable going from the network adapter on your computer and then connect it to the network port in the PoE injector. So that concludes today's video. The next video will go over basic setup and configuration of the WavePro. Thank you for your purchase, and thanks for joining today.